everyone, and welcome to Booming Encore's Learning Bites. My name is Susan Williams, and I'm the founder of Booming Encore. And today I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Marti DeLiema. Dr. DeLiema is a gerontologist and research assistant professor at the University of Minnesota School of Social Work. She's here today to speak with me about a guide that she and a team has developed called the Thinking Ahead Roadmap. And this guide was developed to help people think in advance about their finances and how to keep their money safe as they age. So it's a great topic, and I'm delighted to welcome you. Welcome, Dr. DeLiema.
Hi, thank you. Happy to be here.
So first of all, let's start off. Why did you even think about developing this?
Well, in some of our research, we were identifying a lot of older adults who had reached older age and were unable to manage their money on their own. And then they were being exposed to pretty severe financial risks, like exploitation from a family member who used it as an opportunity to take advantage of them, but also exploitation by fraud criminals living abroad. And we thought, people can think about who they want to make decisions for them in the future and start getting those arrangements made now. In the present, they'll be much more financially secure as they age.
And how is this different than like a will, for instance, though?
Right. A will is something you want to have for after you pass. It really specifies who gets your assets when you die. But there's other documents that a person needs to have before they pass. And those are similar to what we have, like a healthcare power of attorney, to specify who makes our healthcare decisions for us if we cannot make those decisions for ourselves. But instead of healthcare decisions, this is financial decisions. So who's going to manage your investments? Who's going to help you with day-to-day financial matters, bill paying, making sure your credit cards are paid off, negotiating things like health insurance claims, all sorts of things like that. You really need someone you can trust to be in charge of those financial decisions if you can't make them yourself.
So who is this roadmap actually designed for? Who are you thinking of?
It's really designed for any of us, who hopes to reach old age. Many people really think, not me. I'm going to be able to manage my money all the way until I'm in, my late 90s. And then other people think, I'm not even going to make it that long, so I don't need to think about these things. But the reality is the majority of us are living to well into our 80s, and a third of older adults age 80 and older have dementia. And that just really indicates that you need to have someone looking out for your money in addition to your other affairs like your health.
Yeah, so it actually could even apply to anyone at any age if you get any sort of impairment.
Right. So this is really, these steps, these advanced financial care planning steps really need to happen earlier in the life course, not when someone is in their 80s and 90s, but when someone is around retirement age in your 60s and early 70s. That's when you're in the right frame of mind to be able to make the decisions about who do I trust in my family or circle of friends, who do I want to appoint to be my financial power of attorney.
And just on that point of trust, it's so critical. Is there anything that people should actually look for when they're looking for somebody to trust?
Yeah, so in our research, we identified several incredibly important factors that people should really look towards when identifying who do I want to appoint into this role. The first one is that the person needs to have integrity. And it needs to be someone that is absolutely trustworthy with money, someone who will put your needs as the principal in front of their own needs. So that would probably cross out anyone on your list who has a gambling problem, a drug problem, someone who struggles managing their own finances or is in debt. You really want someone who's good with their own money to be in charge of managing your money.
Yeah, I remember reading once somebody had wrote something, choose somebody who loves you more than they love your money.
That's a great saying.
Which I thought, that makes a lot of sense, because it can, even though people don't maybe intend to, it can be sometimes tempting, I'm assuming. Now, how long does it take to actually fill out this roadmap?
So it'll vary from person to person, and many of us have already done some of the first steps. Some of us have really organized financial documents. Maybe they've already met with an elder law attorney or an estate planning attorney and identified who is their financial power of attorney and have all those documents notarized and signed. But if you're really starting from the beginning, I would anticipate that it'll take a couple of weeks, because really it's all about having these kind of sensitive conversations with the people you trust, making sure they're on board, and then making it official by getting all those documents completed. And that can take anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks.
And that's such a good point, because so many people avoid having this conversation because they think that if they have this conversation for some weird way, it's going to will something bad to happen. But in actual fact, you're making a really good point. Having those conversations is critical, isn't it?
Yeah, and it actually makes you, as the aging person, more likely to be in charge of the future. So instead of leaving everything to chance and leaving friends and family scrambling to take over, you're giving them this guidebook, this playbook on how to manage your money in the way that you prefer, the way that you want. So it helps you maintain control rather than give it up.
Terrific. And then what about, where should somebody store this? I know that you can download it from the website or you can actually get a printed copy, but once you've completed this is some really sensitive information that's contained in this. Where would you suggest people store it?
Yeah, so there's several ways to store, confidential legal and financial information. One option is in a password protected cloud, online, and some place that you might feel comfortable over time with sharing that password with your future financial advocate, your power of attorney. Other people store it in a locked file cabinet. The only thing that I'll say is you have to remember to give that financial advocate, the person you chose, ability to access the information when they need it. Of course, by signing your power of attorney, it doesn't mean that this person is going to take over today. It's really just a document you want to have in your back pocket in case anything did happen down the road.
Some excellent advice. Is there anything else that you think people should know?
Just that when we interviewed participants, really to inform the Thinking Ahead Roadmap project, they said, the real reason I want to do this is for peace of mind. We thought it was people want to protect against risks of cognitive impairment and dementia, but really for most people it was, A, I don't want to be a burden to my family, and B, I just want to feel at ease as I age. I don't want to worry about this. So that's what I want to say to listeners, is just that you're doing this for yourself, first and foremost.
Yeah, and also I think for your family, because it can probably take away a lot of that burden of having to pull all this information together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people assume that their spouse might be able to access all of their finances and information. But when it comes to maybe a person's individual retirement accounts, their spouse doesn't have equal access to those that account information. Their spouse will need to be named a power of attorney. So there's really, this is the type of legal step and process that everyone needs to go through, regardless of how complex or simple their finances are.
No, I mean, it's great. I went through the roadmap. I mean, it's very extensive. It definitely gives you lots of things to think about and consider. So I highly suggest everybody go take a look at this. Do you want to provide the website?
Yeah, so the website is www.thinkingaheadroadmap.org. Again, it's www.thinkingaheadroadmap.org.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your advice and for putting this together. I think when I tripped across the resource, I thought, why don't everybody know about this? So hopefully we'll get the word out and help people, start thinking about this sooner rather than later, and possibly save a lot of headaches and heartache.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So thanks so much for your time. To everybody out there, we hope you found this information valuable and it helps you live your best booming encore. Bye for now.